everyone, and welcome to the DTM 2020. We are so ready to burn some rubber. I'm sure you are as well, because it's been 300 days without racing. Now we are back here in Spa-Francorchamps, actually the first time since 15 years. And yeah, we're excited, even though, of course, everything looks different due to COVID-19. We're all wearing masks. We all have to keep our distance. And as you can see behind me, the tribunes are absolutely empty. That means, unfortunately, no fans. But to be honest, we're excited to be here because a few weeks ago, we didn't know when it would start. Now it's finally happening. We are here, so let's do this. And yeah, it's all about René Rast, the reigning champion. And surely the other drivers are going to try really, really hard and push him because, of course, it's all about the crown. But now, first of all, let's get started. Let's kick off the DTM with the first race. And now here's your commentator first.
Thanks very much indeed, Verena. Welcome everybody to Spa-Francorchamps. Chris Hartley here. Very privileged to be trackside for the first race of the season. The DTM, as Verena said, 10 months since our last race, but the organisers, Gerhard Berger and the ITR, have done a tremendous job to put this back together and to give us pretty much a full calendar of racing for the rest of the season. We're going to have 9 weekends of racing between now and the start of November. And it all kicks off right here at Spa-Francorchamps. The first time the DTM has raced here since 2005, 15 years ago. Only one driver on the grid. Jamie Green was here at that time. Everybody else, it's a new experience for them in terms of at least racing a DTM car. New experience for that young man as well. The British driver, Harrison Newey, joining the DTM for the first time. A late deal for him to come in. And having had some good experience over the last few seasons in things like the Formula 3 European Championship and more recently in GT and endurance racing, he joins us here in the DTM. And another of the newcomers this year, we are very pleased to welcome along Robert Kubica, the first ever Polish driver to race in the DTM, the ex-Grand Prix racer, ex-Grand Prix winner, joining us on the grid. And he certainly looked like he was going to be very fast in the free practice session that we had this morning in slightly damp conditions. He's got work to do from a bit further back on the grid for the race. But Robert Kubica is going to be one to watch this season in his first year of DTM. And Verena has managed to catch up with Robert down on the grid.
So we've got 3 new faces in the DTM, one of them being the former Formula 1 star Robert Kubica. We're so excited to have you here as a DTM rookie. In the practice, it looked very promising, but then, however, in qualifying, you're now starting in P14. It looked like you were having some technical issues.
Well, you know, in free practice we had a damp, wet condition, which we performed surprisingly well. We have seen it already in Nürburgring. On the wet, we get better performance. On the dry, you know, it hasn't been a lot of experience for us, so we get into qualifying. The tires were lasting only 1 lap, and unfortunately on the fastest lap I have also a gearbox issue, so lost a couple of positions, maybe even more, but that's how it is. So yeah, today afternoon it will be quite challenging with the tire deck and the first race in DTM. Everything is so compact that yeah, it's a busy weekend, a busy day for myself, but also for a team which is a rookie team, so it is not easy one.
But best of luck for the race. Thank you so much, Robert. So finally we've got some Polish power in the DTM. Back to the commentator.
Yeah, fantastic to have Robert here. Tremendous driver, and sadly his Formula 1 career was cut short with that horrible accident he suffered off-season when he was rallying. But many, myself included, believe he would have been very much a multiple race winner, if not a Formula 1 world champion. But he has got back on the road to recovery. Some great results in rallying, WRC2 champion just a few years ago, and back with us here in the DTM. So a gearbox issue for Robert in qualifying. As I say, he was one of the quickest drivers in the top 4 in free practice in the damp, but he has to start this one from 14th place. We're also going to have, starting at the back of the grid, Ferdinand Habsburg. He had to miss qualifying. There was only just over an hour between the end of free practice and the start of qualifying today, and he had an off towards the end of that free practice session. Too much damage to the car to get repaired in time for qualifying. So Ferdinand, who looked pretty handy up until that point, will have to start at the back of the field. Philipp Eng there, who finished 6th in the championship last year, one of BMW's front-running drivers, hasn't really shown huge pace so far this weekend, but you know, it's new for everybody. It's Spa is new. There's no real amount of pre-season testing for the teams. Had a 3-day test in the Nürburgring a couple of months ago, but the free practice session wasn't that helpful because it was damp conditions, so they went straight into qualifying blind, really, in terms of trying to find a setup. Lucas Auer is back with us in the DTM after a year away, another multiple race winner in the DTM. He went back to single-seater racing in Super Formula and Toyota single-seater racing last year, but he's back with us in the DTM, the former Mercedes driver. And there's Jamie Green, still in search of his first ever DTM title, the most experienced driver on the grid with 193 race starts. He suffered a puncture at the end of the free practice session this morning, and then in qualifying unfortunately didn't quite get the lap time he would have liked, so he's starting this race, the British driver, the man from Leicester, just outside the top 10. It was a disappointing qualifying session as well for this man, one of the 3 champions that we've got on the grid, the former double champion Marco Wittmann, third in last year's championship and the top driver for BMW, but only 8th on the grid. The man to beat, though, was Robin Freins, the only second ever Dutch driver to get a pole position in DTM, and he's down with Verena on the grid.
Here's the man who is in pole position, Robin Freins, and you're looking very relaxed under your umbrella. How's it feeling for the race? Obviously, you've got the best position to start in.
Yeah, obviously we have the best position to start from, but with those long straights, it's quite easy to overtake, especially with DRS and pushed past. As everyone knows, the leader cannot use them. So I think we will definitely see some overtaking in the first couple of laps, especially in the lead pack. And let's just hope we keep it clean and have a lot of fun.
And also, it's completely different weather conditions now, right? I mean, the sun's really come out, it's hot.
Yeah, we also, in FP1, it was like damp with rain tires, so we don't have the information of the long run with the tires we're having, so we basically go in the race blind, not know what to expect. So, but that's for everyone the same, so I think it's going to be very interesting for everyone.
Okay, so best of luck, Robin. Thank you so much. So we're very excited to get racing. So here's your commentator.
Thank you, Verena. Great to hear from Robin. I won't say exactly what he said on the team radio this morning in qualifying, but basically he said, at last, we've got pole position. It's only his second season in DTM, but Robin is a man well used to being on pole position and winning races in other Formula BMW Europe champion, Formula Renault Euro Cup and Formula Renault 3.5 Series champion, a double champion in Blancpaul in the GT Series and the Sprint Cup. So he comes to DTM with high expectations, having finished 5th in the championship last year. The driver that pushed him all the way to pole position, though, only just over 1/10 of a second behind, was Nico Müller, runner-up in last year's championship. And for the second race in succession, having been on the front row of the grid at Hockenheim at the end of last season, he is going to be on the front row of the grid here. Nico Müller starting in 2nd place for today's race down on the grid with Verena.
Just before Nico Müller jumps into the car, I'm just going to quickly ask him, completely different weather conditions now, but starting in P2, what's your gut feeling?
Well, a bit of a ride into the dark, to be honest. We haven't had any long runs so far. The first laps in dry have been done in qualifying, so we don't really know what to expect, but it's a blank sheet of paper for everyone, so it'll be exciting. I'm looking forward to it and trying to make the most of it.
You do that. Thank you so much, and we're so excited as well. So back to the commentator.
Yeah, fantastic season for Nico last year. René Rast, who you see there, who starts 3rd on the grid. The current champion beat Nico to the title, even though Nico managed 3 wins and huge consistency with 11 podium finishes. But René, who's now had 17 wins in just 3 seasons in the DTM and already a double champion, wasn't quite able to get the setup of the car. He was having a little bit of understeer in the qualifying session. He said there were a couple of areas where I know other drivers were flat out and I had to lift ever so slightly. He talked on the team radio about Blanchimont, the quick left-hander at the back of the circuit. And I think he mentioned Eau Rouge as well as being somewhere where he wasn't quite happy with the car initially, then braved it out later on and managed. He was briefly on provisional pole position, but in the end 3rd place. Nico Müller starting just ahead of him, his main rival for last year's championship title. And Robin Freins, as we know, is going to be starting this race on pole position, his first ever pole position in the DTM. Only the 2nd Dutch driver, as I say, to achieve that in this championship. Christian Albers was the last driver to achieve pole position as a Dutch driver in the DTM. That was at the Lausitzring back in 2004. Track temperature is rising all the time. The air temperature is about 3 or 4 degrees higher than it was in qualifying. It's 27, 28 degrees now. It's bright, it's sunny. I look out of the window and I see blue skies, not many clouds, but there's always the threat of rain here in the Ardennes forest, and there's still a 30% chance of rain. We shall find out when the race comes up very shortly. So we are here at Spa-Francorchamps, this beautiful part of Belgium, the east of Belgium, about 50 kilometres away from Liège and the Ardennes forest. There's the centre of Spa, which has its casino, its historic buildings, its funicular. And that's one of the three main towns that surround what was a public racecourse when it was first built in the 1920s. It used to be 15 kilometres around these roads and was the fastest ever road circuit in Europe at one stage. It's a different layout these days, but still the longest circuit on the calendar at 7.004 kilometres long. And for many, if not all of the drivers, a real favourite this. They'll be loving the opportunity of driving these hugely powerful DTM cars with all their excellent aerodynamics around this circuit. And a great way to start the season after a long wait for us all to get back racing once again. So there you can see the grid is being cleared. I overlook the start-finish line, so I can see the drivers and the engineers now just making their final preparations before we get the race underway. The first of two races this weekend, the format being qualifying and a race each day. A 20-minute qualifying session we had this morning to determine the grid for this first race. And this is how then they shape up for the first race of the season. Robin Freins just a tenth quicker than Nico Müller for pole position, his maiden pole. René Rast, the double champion, and Mike Rockenfeller, the 2013 champion, line up on row 2. Sheldon van der Linde and Timo Glock are 5th and 6th on the grid. And then we've got Loic Duval, the former Le Mans winner, 7th. Marco Wittmann in 8th place, 3rd in last year's championship. Lucas Auer 9th on his return. Philip Eng in 10th position in the BMW. Jamie Green, one to watch coming through, always a front runner. 11th, Fabio Scherer, and his first start, starting in 12th. Jonathan Aberdeen and Robert Kubica, who you heard from on the grid, are next up. And then we're going to have Harrison Newey starting 15th. And we wait to see whether Ferdinand Habsburg is there. I think the car is there. We should still have the full house. Ferdinand with work to do in what is going to be a 55-minute plus 1 lap race. The lap record held by Mika Häkkinen, the former double Formula 1 world champion. When he raced in DTM, he was very successful, and he won the race here 15 years ago, ahead of the Audi Team Abt drivers of Matthias Ekström, who was a double champion in DTM, and Tom Christensen, who has a successful DTM career, but was, of course, best known for his excellent work at Le Mans as a 9 times winner of the Le Mans 24-hour race. So Mika Häkkinen with the lap record, a driver, of course, who the chairman of the ITR, who organised the DTM, Gerhard Berger, used to race against. We had John Alesi 4th that day as well. And here we have amongst us some other former Formula 1 drivers on the grid, including Robert Kubica and Timo Glock. You see the front 2 drivers on the grid then, all set and ready to go. They'll have the opportunity throughout the course of the race to use DRS. That will be deployed in the race for much longer periods than we've had before. So we are going to have DRS activated for 50% of the expected total laps of a race this year, much more than the 12 laps they're allowed to use them for last year. That will really come into play on the shorter circuits like Zolder, where we have more laps in a 55-minute race. Here at Spa, of course, it's a much longer lap than most places, but it will still make a difference. There's no 3-second DRS window anymore either. You don't have to be within 3 seconds of the car in front to use that. The drivers, the chasing drivers, are now free to use that. And there are a few occasions where you cannot use DRS. One of the most important ones being if you're the race leader, you can't use the DRS system. The angle of the rear wing changes to give you more speed in a straight line. 18 degrees it can change to. That's the maximum limit this year. And makes you sleeker through the air. Push to pass also can be used for an extra boost of 60 brake horsepower this year throughout the course of the races. Grid then is cleared. There to the left of your picture, getting ready to go off onto the formation lap, is Robin Freins for Team Abt Sportsline. The Audi there with the Dutchman aboard, and alongside him Nico Müller, his teammate, a 1-2 for the team here. Perfect start so far for the season. But that man, René Rast, just behind them, is going to be one to watch in 3rd place for Team Rosberg, who not only did they take René to his 2nd title last year, but they were the team's champions as well at Team Rosberg. So they will be very keen to improve upon 3rd place as the cars now head off onto the formation lap. an opportunity for the drivers just to get their eye in one more time. The first of 18 races in this new season. It's been a long time coming. This is race number 505 of the DTM. It's 10 months since race number 504. And we can't wait to get going. Everybody safely away off the grid. And just spotting, I'm not sure Ferdinand Habsburg is there, is he? So Harrison Newey, the last car away, and I'm afraid it doesn't look like they managed to get Ferdinand's car repaired for the race either. So really frustrating start for Ferdinand. He went well in pre-season testing at the Nürburgring. So 15 cars to take the start of the race. Right there is the long Kemmel Straight, which is mostly gradually uphill once you get to the top of Raidillon out of Eau Rouge, and slightly downhill. And they go from a whopping top speed of 300 kilometers an hour, over 180 miles an hour, and they drop down through the first real heavy braking zone at Le Combe, the right, left, right sequence of corners, down to 120 kilometers an hour. They come down then downhill, as you can see, into this spectacular Bruxelles corner, which is what used to be called Rivage. You can see out in the distance there the paddock where we all are. It's a roller coaster through there, third gear, 140 kilometers an hour, down through the unnamed left-hander, down into the daunting Pouhon, which is taken this corner, this sweeping left-hander, at 190 kilometers an hour in fourth gear. It's just shy of 120 miles an hour. Used to be a whopping big gravel trap there, but these days there's lots more runoff, but it still requires pretty huge bravery, I reckon. They come out of there towards turns 12, 13 and 14, the right-left S-bend section through Le Fan in third gear at 140 kilometers an hour, and then they go down towards the double right at Campus and the Paul Frere curve section, which used to be known as Stavelot. Third gear for that one as well at about 120 kilometers an hour. And then they will head out onto the back stretch of the circuit here, which is blindingly quick out through the forest, through Blanchimont in particular, taken the left-hander at 260 miles an hour, absolutely flat out in sixth gear, before they make their way to the heavy braking zone, coming back towards us in the paddock and overlooking the start-finish line for the last sequence of corners, the bus stop chicane. Hard on the brakes. You're going from, pushing 300 kilometers an hour down to first gear for this one, and down to about 60 kilometers an hour, 37 miles an hour. So it's very easy to outbrake yourself. It's going to be a great overtaking opportunity. And there you can see the cars then make their way to the grid.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Stop. Perfect.
Drivers cannot see over the noses of the cars from their low-slung position in the cockpits. They have to be guided onto the grid space over the team radio. If they go just fractionally over that grid space, they risk a penalty. It's also worth pointing out they're so low-slung in the cars that when they go up Eau Rouge, at the top of Raidillon, they cannot see over the crest of the hill. It's a leap of faith. They go into that corner flat out, absolutely blind. So it's a real driver's circuit, this. Robin Freins on pole position then for the first time in the DTM. Can he get his maiden race victory? Alongside him, Nico Muller. On row 2, René Rast in the red and white Audi, and Mike Rockenfeller in his luminous yellow and blue Audi, and then Sheldon van der Linde and Timo Glock, the first of the BMWs, 5th and 6th on row 3. Red lights come on, and we finally go racing. DTM 2020 is underway. Off the line, a very good start for Robin Freins. Nico Muller, he's under attack though from René Rast, who's at the inside. He might try and get the lead of the race here into La Source. Mike Rockenfeller's coming up the inside of Nico Muller now. So Rast is momentarily going to go second. Third place still going with him though, the green and white Audi of Nico Muller. These two fighting for the championship last year. Muller is coming back at him, side by side as they go through Eau Rouge. Neither wants to give way, but Muller's got the place back. Back to second he goes. Third place now for René Rast. And then you've got Rockenfeller and Glock all over the back of him now, trying to pick up a toe as they go on the Kemmel Straight for the first time in the race. Heading down towards the braking zone. Rast is going to have the inside line, but he's got to watch the mirrors here. With Rocky trying to come around the outside of him. Brave stuff this, but Rast is having none of it. Closes the door. Timo Glock then tries to come through. Sheldon van der Linde and Marco Wittmann watching just behind. They go over the crest now and down towards Bruxelles. The gap between the top two, just a couple of car lengths. Spectacular corner this. Great racing, very, very close, but they gave each other just enough room. And everybody, it seems, survives the start of the first race of the 2020 DTM campaign. Kicking up the dust, kicking up sparks already as they push harder. The lap times are going to be, you reckon, even quicker than we had in qualifying, because the track conditions really starting to come good now. And the race leader away well. Robin Freins under no real pressure at the moment. Just watching the pack in the background. The red and black Audi of Loic Duval just showing its nose, trying to find a gap, trying to find a way through to gain a position. But at the tail end of the top 10 at the moment, they follow each other through. Pit stop windows reintroduced this year as well for the first time in 4 years. So yeah, you have to wait until lap 5 to pit now. The pit window opens when the race leader crosses the safety car line on lap 5. So we're not going to see things like Marco Wittmann diving into the pits at the end of lap 1, which we saw at Misano last year, and going from last to first. That has changed, as on the brakes and down to first gear for the first time into the chicane comes the race leader, Robin Freins. A bit closer to him through this section, though, is Nico Müller in second place. It's a bit close in the background. Two cars go side by side. Do they squeeze through? Ooh, just about. It's tight. It's Freins, Müller, Rast, Rockenfeller, Glock and van der Linde. The top 6 as they go through. And then just behind it's Fabio Scherer in the blue car. On the blue and white, Jonathan Aberdeen BMW swings to the inside. Over the curbs, at the inside at La Source. He's got his nose in front, but they're going to be absolutely wheel to wheel as they come downhill now and towards Eau Rouge. You can just about go 2 abreast through Eau Rouge and Raidillon, but you need absolute trust in the driver that you're racing against. Aberdeen has nosed in front, though, in this little squabble as he gets through. Over the top of Raidillon he goes, the car skipping and hopping and dancing around, but he makes it through. Just behind in the red and white ART Grand Prix car is BMW man Robert Kubica, who we heard from on the grid, having his first DTM race start, and right on cue, you go on board with him now. And then at the back of this quartet, Harrison Newey on his DTM debut as well. So these 4 battling away for 12th position now, having a really close scrap. Robert Kubica getting into this. Slower car ahead. Was that Sheldon van der Linde dropping back down the order? Quite possibly. Up ahead, it's side by side as well on the way through Brussels. No quarter given, though. No change of position. Push to pass now enabled on this from this second lap of the race. The gap from first to second is 0.7 of a second. And there you can see Harrison Newey getting a little bit closer to the tail of Robert Kubica. Through there goes. The fastest first sector of the race so far has gone to Timo Glock, currently running in 5th place. And there is the car. I'm afraid I was right. It was a flash of red and yellow. I thought it was. It's Sheldon van der Linde who was suddenly slowed. We saw it from Robert Kubica's onboard camera. And he has dropped way down the order with a problem. A shame for Sheldon, who went very well in both the free practice and the qualifying session this morning. So the South African dropping down the order. The gap from first to second, 0.7 of a second at the last sector still. Robin Freins just keeping Müller and Rast at arm's length. Rockenfeller, who was 4th in last year's championship. Next up, then Timo Glock, the ex-Grand Prix racer. Now with plenty of experience in the DTM, he goes through to round out the top 5. So up to 6th place will come Marco Wittmann now. Glock, still the leading BMW exponent, just ahead of him. And here we go, a tidy move up the inside there on the way into La Source, and that was nicely done by Jamie Green to move ahead of Lucas Auer. Jamie, who's so often over the last few seasons had a very bright livery, now with the mean-looking silver and black livery on his Team Rosberg Audi, gaining a place there. He's up 2 positions already then, partially thanks to the problems that van der Linde has had. Here's a replay of the move. He knew exactly where he was going to put that car and exactly what he was going to do. And Jamie Green, with all of his race experience, the 17-time race winner, multiple championship frontrunner, goes through to put himself up to 9th place. Nice replay that. As we go back to the lead group, Rockenfeller and Glock just going through the shot. Marco Wittmann is another one that's gained a few places in this race, from 8th up to 2nd place. Gap has increased slightly from 1st to 2nd to just 1 second now. Still pretty tight, but the gap has grown a length or so between Robin Freins. They're coming back out of the pits. We're about to see Sheldon van der Linde. So the issues with his Team RBM BMW hopefully have been sorted, although he doesn't look very quick still, does he? So I'm afraid he's still cruising as he goes back onto the circuit and heads back down towards Eau Rouge. So effectively, this is going to become a test session now for Sheldon, in the hope of getting the car sorted, ready for tomorrow's qualifying and race 2. There then Nico Muller trying to hang on to the coattails of Robin Freins. A race winner in every category in which he's competed. The race leader. Dutchman leads, Swiss driver second, German driver third, fourth and fifth and sixth. Loic Duval, the Frenchman, in seventh. Lucas Auer, the Austrian, in eighth. Jamie Green, the British driver, in ninth. And Philipp Eng, the Austrian driver, rounding out the top 10 at the moment. Past the commentary box window goes the race leader. And the gap's ebbing and flowing a little bit. It's come down to 0.8 of a second through the last sector. So using the DRS, I suspect, to just close that gap around the quicker section through corners like Blanchimont and gain a bit of an advantage is Muller, but he's not close enough to pick up a toe either. On board, a wild ride through the top of Eau Rouge and Radion onto the Camel Straight for your third place driver, René Rast. Just losing touch a little bit with the race leaders, but there's a long way to go in this race. In turn, Mike Rockenfeller is just dropping back a little bit now as well. Timo Glock in 5th place, 6th place Wittmann, Duval 7th, Green up to 8th place now has gained a position as well. So 3 places gained for Jamie so far in the race, making a pretty decent start of this. That gap's coming down again between the top 2, I reckon, through this first part of the lap. And certainly through the left-hander at Russell. A bit ragged, a bit wide on the curbs. Coming down the hill now for the race leader, Robin Freins, heading towards the incredibly fast section at Pouhon. The double left-handing sweep, which they take, as I say, at 190 kilometres an hour. I'm going to replay of the start now. Smoke from in the left brakes of Muller, but no issues with the car, it seems. Everybody away pretty well, no real dramas off the line. A replay on board with Mike Rockenfeller in 4th place. Rast had the best start of the top 3 and got alongside, you'll remember, Muller for second. He thought about having to go for the lead of the race on the way to La Source as well. But Muller, look how brave Muller is here to the left of your picture in the green and white Audi, to keep it hanging on around the outside and to commit to getting that place back on the run down in towards Eau Rouge. That was really, really brave stuff from Nico. And he trusted that René Rast would not dart off his racing line, would give him just enough space. Tremendous driving from both of them. I wonder how many more times we're going to see Rast and Muller going wheel to wheel, as we did so often in the 2019 campaign. Over the line then, the race leader. The gap's down again, 0.6 of a second. Still not close enough to really pressurise him, but Muller is working really hard to stay with him. The bigger fight seems to be coming further back, though, because 5th place is about to change hands. Marco Wittmann trying to go around the outside of Timo Glock at La Source. You've got Loic Duval just behind as well. Wittmann has done it. Terrific move around the outside. And now look at Loic Duval in the 28 car. He's going to get alongside Glock. He's going to get his nose in front. He got the better exit coming out of the hairpin, and he's through relatively easily. So Glock, in the blink of an eye, loses 2 places here to go from 5th down to 7th. And look at this for the race lead. Muller's got it done at the end of the Camel Straight, ahead of Robin Freins. Got a brief glimpse on board there. And from being 0.6 of a second back when we left them at the start of the lap, he very quickly made the most of that DRS, I reckon, down the Camel Straight. So Robin Freins couldn't do anything about it. He can't use it as the race leader. But now, of course, he is the hunter, and he will have the opportunity to pull a similar trick later on in the race. So Muller, the new race leader. Freins down to 2nd place for the first time in the race. Then Rast and Rocky Wittmann, as we saw, moving up to 5th place, making decent progress in this race as well. With the next driver into your shop coming into Pouhon, Loic Duval. Timo Glock in the number 16 BMW lost those 2 places. Also has to watch the mirrors from Mr. Jay Green, who's now pushing hard, having a really good run here. You'd expect no less from a driver of the quality of Jamie Green, closing all the time here. A runner-up in the DTM, twice in the top 3 in the championship, never quite taking the title, but he still has an opportunity this year. Back into the garage. The Sheldon van der Linde car being worked on. So Team RBM just trying to get the car back out there, get some running time in. It'll all be good data, good information for the team and the driver if they can do that. But we go back to this battle between Glock and Green for 7th place. Glock in the BMW under real threat now from Jamie Green. who is right underneath his rear wing. He's going to go for it. He's a very decisive overtaker. He's a bit deep into the corner because he had to brake so late. Timo didn't make it easy for him, but coming out of the chicane, a bit wide on the curbs. He's got his nose in front, and he'll have the better line going in towards turn 1 at the hairpin. So terrific stuff from Jamie. I tell you, that was the last of the late breakers there. Terrific battle between them. And just ahead, a great battle developing between Wittmann and Duval as well. Duval looking very, very racy here. Can he find a way through at the top of Radion, maybe going onto the Camel Straight? He'll have to hold back here. Not close enough to launch an attack, but now he might be able to go on a real run here. Although he seems a bit further back, actually. Wittmann's done a really good job of keeping the BMW just far enough ahead, just out of reach. So as they go on the brakes, down to third gear, once more at the ends of the Camel Straight, the gap just grows ever so slightly again on the way through Le Comte. Coming out of that now, down towards Bruxelles, and again, Wittmann quick through that section. So for now, Loic Duval unable to squeeze past him. Wittmann's still the leading BMW driver. So Bert Mompé, the boss of the RBM team, the Belgian squad, overseeing matters, I'm sure, with the squad as they try and get Van der Linde's car sorted and out. We don't know what the problem is yet, but we hope he gets back in the race to get some running at least. Nico Muller, the race leader's got the gap out now to 1.1 seconds ahead of Robin Freund. You're on board with the third place car of René Rast. Mandatory pit stops if you're new to DTM as well to consider. Pit stop window after lap 5. So we're now coming into that period where they can have the mandatory pit stop for tyre changes. And look at this, flat out on the way through the back of the circuit, through Blanchimont. Hang on to it at 300 kilometres an hour, 6th gear. Now watch this on the brakes. Look how quickly a DTM car can slow down to just 120 kilometres an hour. Right, left, out they come. Rast looks a bit closer to me, to the tail of Robin Freund, than he was maybe at the start of the lap. The leader, this is allowing him to get away. Muller, 1.5 seconds clear now as they go through onto the start of a new lap. Sheldon van der Linde happily is going back out. Yellow flag in turns 18 and 19. That's the end of the lap at the chicane. I stretch my neck, look out the commentary box window, but I can't see far enough. See part of the corner, but not all of it. Green flag again now, so somebody had a moment there at the end of the lap, but seemingly recovered. Second and third come through into your shot, Robin Freund. And that man, number 33, René Rast, a multiple Porsche champion in the Porsche Carrera Cup, Germany, and Porsche Super Cup before he moved into DTM. Just getting the back end kicking out a little bit on his Audi, and there we see the 99 machine of the Team Phoenix driver Mike Rockenfeller. His long relationship with Team Phoenix, with whom he's had great success over the years. Back on board with René Rast, about to make his way down this roller coaster section through the left and down towards Pouan. There he is. Mike Rockenfeller is hanging on now to them. They've certainly left the next group behind. Big gap developing to 5th. There's still nose to tail between Marco Wittmann, the 2014-2016 champion, and Loic Duval. And Duval in the number 28 Audi closes, not close enough to attack. It's not really an overtaking opportunity at this part of the lap. Don't think he'll have a lunge here either, so he might just wait until they get towards the end of the lap, because there definitely will be an opportunity as they come into the final 2 corners of the lap, coming into the chicane. Marco Wittmann is not going to be an easy driver to overtake, that's for sure, with all of his experience. One of the drivers that's raced here at Spa, of course, but not in the DTM. Coming up in single-seater racing through Formula 3, he will have had experience racing here. Just edging away now, I reckon, from René Rast, aren't they? In third place. Rockenfeller hanging on to Rast, and then that battle still going on between Wittmann and Duval. Watching Marco Wittmann now coming out and joining them in the background. Jamie Green, he's almost with them now. So the next 3 over the line, 5th, 6th and 7th, go past the comms box window. And yet Jamie Green looking good here. He did a 2-minute 12.9 on the last lap, whereas Duval did a 2 minutes 13.7 and Wittmann did a 2 minutes 13.8. So more than 3/4 of a second quicker. Loic Duval sees that as a hurry-up call and goes for it and makes the move stick on the way into Eau Rouge. Terrific stuff. He'd had a look there a couple of times before, but this time he committed to it, moves ahead of Marco Wittmann and puts himself up now, the Frenchman, into 5th place. Watch Jamie Green, though. He's a man on a mission in this race. Shows his nose. DRS deployed on the silver and black Audi on the way into Le Comte. No way through. Marco Wittmann's got the line covered. But Green is definitely the quicker of the two drivers at this stage of the race. He's come from 11th on the grid. If you can get past Wittmann, he'll have moved into the top 6. They want to do it rapidly as well because Loic Duval has been released all of a sudden and is quickly edging away. So Jamie Green will need to get the job done on Marco, preferably from his point of view on this lap, so as not to let Loic Duval get too far off into the distance. Here we go. He's got a better run coming down towards Pouhon. He's going to have the inside line. We know that Jamie will commit because that's what he always does. Great move, well thought out, and a high-speed game of chess that. He was just working out where the BMW was a bit slower, and he got that job done really coming out of the preceding corner. So that's good news for him because it's only taken him a couple of corners to get past Marco Wittmann, whose next problem is going to be looking in the mirrors to see Timo Glock potentially getting bigger and bigger. Here's another look then at this really brave move from Loic Duval. Coming down, it's the old start-finish straight here at Spa. Full commitment down into Eau Rouge. Huge compression on the drivers as they go through there. 3G of lateral force. They're pushed down literally into the seats of the cars. All their neck muscles, arm muscles, complete strain on them. Suddenly their heads, already heavier with their race helmets on, become 3 times heavier. Huge fitness required, but lots of the drivers have had more time than normal to prepare in terms of their fitness with lockdown. They've been doing lots and lots of training and stamina training, the drivers have been saying, so they come into this ready to fight this new season. Right, Muller is 2.3 seconds clear now in the lead of the race from Robin Freins, who in turn is just under a second clear of René Rast in 3rd place. Then there's a nearly 5-second gap back to Rockenfeller from the race leader. Rocky is just about 1.5 seconds behind Rast, but 4.7 seconds behind the race leader. And then Duval and Green, who we've been watching progressing, especially Green, progressing through the order. Loic Duval, though, looking quick. He was definitely being held up a little bit by Marco Wittmann. Marco, though, has kind of held on to the tail of Jamie Green on this lap, doing an excellent job. Loic Duval, another driver, will be looking for his first win in DTM this season if he can. Best results, a 2nd place finish at Zandvoort back in 2017, which is his first season of the DTM. A couple of seasons struggling in the DTM to get the results he would have liked. But 2019, a pretty good season for Loic, finishing in 7th place with Team Phoenix. Got a podium as well at Misano last year. Right, we're now watching the battle that is starting to really develop for 3rd place here. Because Mike Rockenfeller, the 2013 champion, has got the bit between his teeth. You're on board with the driver he is chasing down for the final spot on the podium. And you can see there the gap coming down from 1.9 seconds to 1.4 seconds on the graphic over the last 3 laps. So Rocky is the quicker of them at the moment. René Rast not completely 100% happy with the handling of his car in qualifying, and maybe that is still becoming an issue for him here. He looks like he's really having to fight it at times, doesn't he? Through some of the fast sweeping bends. René Rast driving the wheels off the car, but Mike Rockenfeller is all over the back of him as they come towards the braking zone into the chicane. René Rast puts the car in exactly the right place, though, on the racing line. No chance of Rocky getting through yet, but can he get a better exit here and maybe have a stab on the way into La Source? I reckon he's going to have a go. They draw alongside as they come towards the start-finish line, just about with his nose in front as he came past the commentary box window as Rocky. He's on the outside line, though, so he's going to have more distance to travel. He's going to have the inside line for René Rast coming back at him. They're still going to be side by side, but again, he's got his nose in front. It's going to be a repeat of the Loic Duval move, but not quite as spectacular. And in any case, the job is done, and Rocky is through up into 3rd place. René Rast now with a car in front of him. See him fighting the wheel as he makes his way through Eau Rouge and Radion. This is the rear-facing onboard camera from Mike Rockenfeller, who's just pulled off that move, looking back at René Rast now, and you can see what a climb uphill it is. It's a long old walk there. Done it many times in the past, and in these hot conditions today, you get a bit of a sweat on going up there. It's a long old circuit to walk around, and it's going to be a physical challenge for these drivers as well in what are becoming increasingly hot conditions. Still looking good in terms of the sky above, but you never know here. There's a 30 to 40% chance of some rain in the next hour, but it should be a miracle worker to work out the weather at this part of the world, because it changes so rapidly. Here's a replay then. Rocky on the right, Rennen on the left. Tried, didn't quite get through there, but he knew if he could just hang on around the outside, he'd have better traction and he'd have the job done before they got to Eau Rouge. And that is how it played out. Mike Rockenfeller moving up to 3rd place. And we started the race 4th. Got work to do to try and catch up to the leaders, but you can see how he's already left behind René Rast. So René struggling here. Mike Rockenfeller looking good at this stage of the race. Going to manage the Hankook tyres as well in these hot conditions. There are lots and lots of fast corners here at Spa, so it can put a real strain on the tyres, and it can mean that you have to really look after them towards the end of their life before the pit stop and at the end of the race as well. So that's another factor to consider in what a relatively long 55-minute plus one-lap race is whether the drivers can manage tyre degradation and keep the speed going throughout the course of the race. Robert Kubica we're seeing in at 13th place, just behind Jonathan Aberdeen and just in front of Harrison Newey. And Kubica on his debut, well, 4th quickest in the free practice session. He definitely like a bit more rain. And we've got René Rast into the pits. So René Rast into the pits, first of the leaders to come in, first of the drivers to come in to make their mandatory pit stops in the race. Well, you can see he was struggling with the car, and it makes sense to come in now, having just lost that 3rd place.
After turn 1 to the finish. DS, you have more than all the others. Use it for the virtual race as well. And maximum rear tire saving. We are good, BMW is out.
7.2 seconds, the stop time there. I've seen better, it wasn't too bad. We'll see how that works out. Jonathan Aberdeen is coming to the pits as well, just below the commentary box. So there he is, coming into his pit box now. A maximum of 9 team members can work on the car. Only 1 wheel gun can be used. The 9th team member is designated as the tyre catcher. Stop tyres rolling down the pit lane. That's a better pit stop, 6.7.
Pit stop light. Watch out, white line.
Yeah.
Copy.
Watch for the white line, as in don't cross that white line there onto the track. That's the merge line. If you do so, you face a penalty. So Rast and Aberdeen, the first of the drivers to make their mandatory pit stops, dropped to 13th and 14th positions. Half a second quicker the pit stop for BMW Team RMR on Jonathan Aberdeen's car. So Rockenfeller trying to home in, and I think successfully so, on Robin Freins. He definitely left René Rast quickly in his mirrors, and Rocky a 2 minutes 13.6 on the last lap compared to a 2 minutes 14.7 for Robin Freins. So he was much quicker, 1.1 seconds quicker. Not as quick though as the race leader. He's still flying along, Nico Muller, a 2 minutes 12.857 last time around. So this is becoming the battle for 2nd place in the race, and Robin Freins is going to bail for the pits. So Robin comes in now, sensing that his tyres might be at the end of their premium life as well.
Copy pit lane, Robin. Rast was dying on the last 2-3 laps, so you have 14 laps to go. You need to manage the tyres. It will be tight on the exit with René. And you are still P2 virtually.
So Robin wants to be coming out.
I have no front man, like nothing.
Not happy with the front tyres.
Go.
6.6 seconds.
Remember, you need to finish the race and watch the white line on.
Yeah, remember you got to finish the race, Robin. Thanks for the advice. So Robin, 6.6 seconds, his decent stop as he come out ahead of René Rast is the question. Here comes Rast on the way into La Source. Rast was 4th and Freins was 2nd before it all started, but he's not as close. Even though he had a faster stationary pit stop, it's not going to be that much of a gap between them. And Rast about to come over the brow. There he is. So Robin Freins effectively will hang on to his second, or potentially hang on to his 2nd place. No, he won't. No, Rast has come out in front. So where did he lose the time there then? Because it was definitely a quicker pit stop, 6.6 seconds compared to 7.2. So on the way in and on the way out, that's where he lost the time. René maybe attacked the in-lap a bit more. They all have to stick to the pit lane speed limit, but René was 2 places behind Robin before they came into the pits, respectively, and now he's ahead of him. So Robin will be displeased with that. So for now, Nico Muller leads. Mike Rockenfeller promoted up to second place. Luke Duval's moving up the order as well pretty nicely. The gap between him and Jamie Green, the two that have been marching up into the top 6, is 2.2 seconds. So Green's not catching at the moment. In fact, it was a tenth slower on the previous lap. It's going to be a long second stint. There were both drivers, René Rast, I suspect, and definitely, as we heard, Robin Freins both, as the leader comes in, both struggling with the tyres.
Copy pit lane, Nico. 14 laps to go. You will meet René. He stopped 3 laps earlier than you and had quite tyre degradation issues. So approach the second run as your first one. Pace looked really good. René has 9 laps of DRS left.
So there, the advice and clarity of the situation from the team.
Go. So remember the white line. René has 9 laps of DRS left. You had a really good long run pace.
So DRS every lap.
So Felix Fechner, the engineer for Nico Muller, giving him the lowdown on the situation. So René Rast, quick, stopped earlier, but he'll maybe struggle with the car later on in the race. There is René in the number 33 machine. This pit stop period seems very much to have worked out for him. First, he's managed to find a way past Robin Freins. And now with Nico Muller potentially beatable all of a sudden. Nico having had this very good start to the race. Mike Rockenfeller up into first place, but yet to make his stop. Jamie Green promoted to second. Lucas Auer promoted to third as the first of the BMWs. Philip Eng fourth, but none of them has made pit stops. There's Muller then. He's much, much closer, isn't he? So René Rast, that pit stop period really worked out for the reigning champion. So effectively, once all the pit stops are done, he should get back up to second place. Should. We'll see where Rocky comes out in all of this, because remember, Mike Rockenfeller had got ahead of René Rast just before Rast came into the pits. But of the pit stoppers, it's Muller, then Rast, and they're not that far behind. The number 4 car are Robin Freins, who definitely lost out compared to those two. So suddenly, having been a long way behind Muller, you can see him in his target sights now, René Rast. Close enough to breathe down his neck yet. But as I say, the issue might be, if he was struggling with the tyres towards the end of his first stint, his second stint is actually going to be a longer stint. René Rast having pitted earlier than the rest of the front runners. This is where Robin Freins came out of the pits initially in front of René Rast, but of course he had to get up to speed. René went left, went right, was not going to miss up on that opportunity. And that was pretty gutsy stuff. Must have been horrible looking in the mirrors for Robin Freins, seeing this red and white missile suddenly behind him when he had expected to be a fair bit clear. On board the replay with René Rast, charging his way down towards...
So target is P2, P3, definite podium. Laps remaining 13. You will meet on pit exit BMW.
Rocky in. You will meet on pit exit a BMW. Right, let's see. Is he going to come out in front of... he's going to have a pack of them around him. He's not going to come out in front of any of them, is he? So Rocky out on track now. Where is he, though, relative to Muller and Rast in particular, and Freins? The top 4 of all now made pit stops. Sheldon van der Linde several laps down, who's just behind him. And just in front of him, Fabio Scherer, who's yet to make a pit stop. So there is Mike Rockenfeller in the 99 car, and there in the background was Muller. So he's through into the lead effectively once all the pit stops are sorted. He's going to be Mike Rockenfeller, I reckon. We'll confirm it when they come back through. So there he is, the 99 car, side by side just in front between Harrison Newey, number 10, and number 13, the lighter blue car of Fabio Scherer. Rocky desperate to get past them on his new tyres and not get held up and make the most of this pit stop period, which has gone his way. Still being frustrated here, though. The two in front of him racing on. And there, I reckon, 2 cars behind in the background was Muller. He's down the inside of one, gets up the inside of Harrison Newey on the way into Pouhon. And he'll be keen to dispatch pretty quickly of Fabio Scherer as well, who's, of course, on older tyres, having not yet made his pit stop. Rocky has to wait, though. This is going to be frustrating for him. Feels a bit unlucky to get traffic around such a long lap here, but that's the way it's panned out for Mike Rockenfeller. He now, though, is surely going to have more traction on the new tyres, and through he goes for track position, but, of course, effectively he's way ahead of this battle. Here's the replay. So you had Scherer ahead of Newey having their own little battle here going on, maybe not aware that effectively the race leader, Mike Rockenfeller, was coming up to them. They're not obliged to let him through because they are racing for track position, and Rocky got a bit crossed up there. He had to go on a tight line through the Brussels hairpin. Jamie Green, now the race leader. Has he come into the pits? Yes, Jamie Green has come into the pits. So there's Muller through. He pitted on lap 12. Eng's going to be the next one over the line, but he's yet to go in the pits. Then Rast and Rocky no, so he wasn't in the background. Rocky has not made it up enough time to get himself on terms with Muller. Green having his pit stop just underneath the commentary box. I think it must have been in the distance in the background, that the other green and white car of Wittmann. Yes, it was. There he is in the number 11 car. So Muller has held the lead of the race effectively. Green was leading, but he's now in the pits, so it's Muller who will on the next lap come through as the new race leader, or the next sector. Then Rast, then Freins, then it's going to be Rocky fourth. So Freins and Rocky are the two that have missed out on this. Loic Duval made his pit stop in between them as well on lap 12, so he's got that done. Wittmann has been in the pits. So it's just Philipp Eng, who's currently running second, and Harrison Newey, who's currently running in 8th place, that have yet to make their mandatory pit stops with just under 22.5 minutes to go. René Rast on the track, 8.9 seconds behind Eng. So he's about 11.5 seconds behind Muller. So he's fallen back. You could see him. He wasn't that far behind him when he came out of the pits initially, but the gap has begun to grow. Muller with a very quick lap last time around, 2 minutes 9.756 seconds, whereas Rast only a 2:11.4. So Muller is looking very strong indeed, even at this stage of the race, and he should have a bit more tyre life than some of the others around him as well. Only a couple of drivers have pitted after him. Fabio Scherer, Jamie Green, who's just come in, and Lucas Auer. He managed to push those tyres on a bit longer in that first stint, 2 or 3 laps longer than most of his rivals. That should be Harrison Newey making his way into the pits at the end of the lap. And Philipp Eng to come in as well. Eng coming in, Newey coming in, I would suspect
right
soon.
Line on exit. 11 laps to go. 11 laps to go. You have 8 DRS lap left. Out of the 5th, you have to push everything you have.
So Philipp Eng in, Harrison Newey in as well, as I thought he probably would. So they've both come in together. They were 2nd and 8th before it happened, before the pit stops happened, but they're going to, of course, drop down the order now. Now here's Jamie Green under threat from Timo Glock as they come out to start a new lap out of La Source down towards Eau Rouge. Jamie Green on fresher tyres though, 2 laps younger than the tyres of Timo Glock, so he should, if the car's working well, be able to edge back away from Timo. These huge rear spoilers on the cars. See the flaps opening up for DRS to make them even slicker in a straight line down the Camel Straight. Jamie Green looking good at the moment. And here's a replay. Well, we've been watching the pit stops. This was him this is how he got through ahead of Timo Glock. It was into La Source. A move which he's pulled off a couple of times already today in the race, Jamie Green. This is the perspective of Timo Glock as Jamie came up the inside of him on the way into the hairpin. Fastest first sector of the race so far has just gone to the 3rd place driver, Robin Freins, 36.4 seconds. It's 4.7 seconds down on René Rast, but we'll keep an eye on the gap. Remember, Rast, slightly older tyres. So Muller leads, now that's all sorted out. There he is. And has actually managed to build his lead with a couple of very quick laps recently in the 2:09s. The only driver to achieve that. So Muller, he's more than 8 seconds clear now of René Rast. I think he's grown 2 or 3 seconds since René emerged back from the pits and Muller emerged out just in front of him. So 8 seconds plus now for him. Freins is third, but looking quick. Philipp Eng was fourth across the last timing beam. He's held on to fourth place. That will be impressive. Then Rockenfeller, Duval, Wittmann seventh, Glock eighth. No, Eng is, that was just as they cross the timing beam, because Rocky is going to come through. Eng should be somewhere in and around 10th place, I would have thought. So Rocky's come through the timing beam in fourth, Duval fifth, Wittmann sixth, Green seventh, Glock, who he just passed, is eighth. And then it should be Philipp Eng and Harrison Newey, as I say, somewhere around the top 10. Ours got to us first, though. Ours ninth, Eng is 10th, and on for the last point at the moment. So that should mean Harrison Newey is going to come past the line in 11th or 12th, just outside the points currently. Aberdine's just gone past, he's 11th. Should be Newey next, I reckon. So final point at the moment going to Philipp Eng, but he's going to have pretty new tyres. He might be able to make some progress in the final stages. Number 16 you're looking at is Timo Glock, currently running in 8th place. And Sheldon van der Linde just behind him had problems with the car early on. Went into the pits a few times, so this has now become just a test session for him, and they're still not running particularly quickly. 2 minutes 16 last time around for Sheldon van der Linde. Gap 9.7 seconds now. Muller is absolutely flying at the head of the field. Excellent form all the way through, really, the 2019 campaign, to keep René Rast honest in the fight for the championship, to take it pretty much down to the wire. Can he get his 5th DTM race victory? Last win coming in the last weekend of the season at Hockenheim. Muller is well clear of Rast. Rast is 3.2 seconds clear of Freins, who we know has been flying from the sector times. And on that lap, a 2:11.9 for Rast, a 2 minutes 10.3 for Freins. 1.6 seconds quicker. Rocky also flying, 2 minutes 10.9 for him, so they're both catching René Rast back up. René struggling with the tyres at the end of the first stint, as I say, has got a longer stint to manage the tyres this time around, so the car is just not handling as well, not holding on to the tyres as well as some of the other cars. And René is going to have a real fight in his hands here, not just to stay second, but to even stay on the podium, because the two cars behind are homing in at a pretty rapid rate of knots here. There is Mike Rockenfeller in 4th place. Rear view camera shows the undulation and the steep rise suddenly in a blink of an eye. The pit wall is a million miles beneath you. Flat out now. There's Freins number 4 in 3rd. There is Rocky number 99 in 4th place. And the gap between them, 2.6 seconds. Personal best for Mike Rockenfeller through sector 1. And he was 0.6 quicker than Robin Freins in that sector alone. And they are both absolutely flying after René Rast. René is really struggling now. He's done a 2 minutes 13 on the last lap. 2 minutes 10.8 for Rockenfeller. They're going to be with him in the not too distant future. René Rast is going to have to drive a very wide car for the remaining, 15 minutes or so of this race, plus 1 lap, if he's to hang on to his position. You can hear it coming in. There he is, a situation that's only going to get worse for him, you would have thought. They're absolutely reeling him in. So Freins is catching Rast, but Rocky is catching them both. The race win might be a bridge too far, but second place is very much on the cards here for Mike Rockenfeller. At least 3rd, at least a podium finish. And if he can do that, that'll be his 31st visit to the podium in the DTM. Mike Rockenfeller, who's such a consistent driver. He's not had that many wins in his DTM career, only 6. But he's had a championship title, he's had the consistency. He's been in the top 4 in the championship, I think 4 times, winning it in 2013. 4th in last year's championship, and he keeps banging in the points and podiums. The consistency is going to be absolutely key in this compressed season of DTM. Over the line they went then, and the gap 0.9 of a second. 2 minutes 12.6 for Robin Freins, 2 minutes 10.9 for Rockenfeller. He's eating up the advantage of the Dutchman here. So from Robin's point of view, it might have to be that he'll concede a position to Mike Rockenfeller, though he won't want to, but gain a place back, potentially, on René Rast and end up on the podium still. Third place. Let's see what fight he's got. Let's see if he can find any more speed in the car. How many DRSs have they got left as well? Might be something to consider. Marco Wittmann, as is so often the case, is the leading driver in a BMW in 6th place. But he's got to work quite hard as well, because Jamie Green has been flying after him the last couple of laps, and that gap has come down to under 2 seconds now. So one to keep an eye on further back. Wittmann in 6th, Green in 7th. Catching in rapidly, a bit quicker than Wittmann as well, is Glock and Auer in 8th and 9th, but they're a bit further back, and they're both slower than Jamie Green. Big twitch again from the front of René Rast's car as he makes his way into Porn. He's just not got that car and the setup settled as much as he would like. Mike Rockenfeller is now very much with Robin Freins. Robin Freins is almost with René Rast, and this is a three-way fight with 13 minutes to go for 2nd place in the race. Muller is miles clear, 14 seconds give or take. And he seemed to have no real dramas with the tyres at the end of his stint. He's a very smooth driver, Nico Muller, and he's got that car set up well, it seems. So Muller and the AB Sportsline team looking good for the win. But what about 2nd place? There's 2 more places on the podium, and there's 3 drivers going for it here. 3 very, very good drivers they are. Mike Rockenfeller, the quicker of the 3. Robin Freins has got the hurry-up call here. Shows his nose, in the mirrors at least, to René Rast. René struggling to hold it on the racing line, even through some of the slower corners now. A brilliant driver, but the setup is not quite working for him at the moment. Over the line they go, right in front of me in the commentary box. And a look at the inside for Robin Freins. Is he going to do it? Understeering wide is René Rast. René's got his nose in front still, but Robin Freins is coming at him now. And so too is Mike Rockenfeller as they thunder down towards Eau Rouge, getting close to the pit wall on the inside. René Rast is going to hold it for now, though. I thought he was going to have a go then coming out of the corner. He definitely had to think about it. But now another opportunity surely is going to come at the end of the Camel Straight for Robin Freins. He's got to attack and defend at the same time. He kicks up the dust as he puts 2 wheels on the grass. Mike Rockenfeller is going to try and follow him through. They might both get past Rast here. They will. Freins goes 2nd, Rockenfeller goes 3rd, Rast goes from 2nd down to 4th, and there is absolutely nothing he can do about it. Rockenfeller is not done yet. He's got 1, he wants another place here, he wants 2nd position. He knows he's quicker than Robin Freins from the way he's caught him up. He's already got the line on the way into the right-hander at Brussels, and through into 2nd place goes Mike Rockenfeller. Beautifully done, and he should now, you'd expect, pull away from this pair. Robin Freins, I think he's going to pull away from René Rast. And René still got some work to do here to even get the 4th place finish, because getting bigger and bigger in the mirrors is Loic Duval in the number 28 Team Phoenix car. Loic's last lap was a 2 minutes 12.2, which was 1.3 seconds quicker than René Rast. In fact, René, with all the traffic and trying to fend off the other 2, had a very, very slow lap last time around, but by and large, more than a second a lap quicker over the last few laps has been Loic Duval. He's pulled clear now of Jamie Green. Marco Wittmann's only 1.7 seconds behind Jamie as well, so a queue forming, still a long 10 minutes plus, and then another lap at the end of that to go for René Rast. It's looking relatively easy, all of this, though, for Nico Muller. And the Castrol Edge-backed number 51 AB Sportsline car. He has looked absolutely serene all the way through this race. It's just that one point where Rast closed up through the pit window. Driver into the pits in the background. Is that Rast coming in for more tyres? Yes, René Rast has had enough.
Okay, we have 6 laps to go. DS pushed past.
I don't know what's wrong.
Even René Rast cannot make the car go any quicker.
No idea. Just no idea.
The rear tires are completely gone. No rubber left. And we expect some other guys to suffer as well. At the moment we are out of the points. We have 5 laps to go.
What?
A most unhappy René Rast, as you can imagine. He's no idea what's going on, he said. rear tyre's completely gone as we get the replay of the double loss that he had to go from 2nd to 4th place. He could have stayed out, but ultimately he's probably going to lose even more time because the tyres were just not working for him. The car has used them up too much, so opting for the pits, going to lose time. He's going to drop back, but maybe at least he can do something for the last few laps of the race. Mike Rockenfeller conversely coming through and gaining 2 positions very quickly, one after the other, from 4th to 2nd. So René Rast just trying to get a championship point now if he can. Currently running in 10th place. At least if he can make the car quick for a few laps and get something out of this. Ooh, look at the tyres. That is a struggle, isn't it? So, whew, no wonder he came in. He'd have been absolutely going backwards on those. And he was making the right call there to come in. Absolutely no idea, he said, what's going on. They have to really have a look at this to try and get that car working for tomorrow's race. You heard the conversation between René and Florian Rinks, his engineer there. Florian just trying to keep René calm and get him to finish the race. On board then with Mike Rockenfeller in 2nd place. Still a long way down on the race leader, but comfortably clear of everybody else behind him now. 2 minutes 13.2 for the race leader Nico Müller. 2 minutes 12.9, so quicker, but not massively quicker for Mike Rockenfeller. The gap is 21 seconds anyway. This is a huge advantage in DTM. And there, Robin Freins and Jamie Green now very much in the same picture here. Loic Duval's already got past Robin Freins for 3rd place while we've been watching the dramas for René Rast. Robin, we know, he's struggling with the car and with the tyres, and he's going to lose another place here. Nothing he can do about it. Again, just not got the grip. So Jamie Green comes through for 4th. Robin Freins down to 5th place. And I reckon Marco Wittmann's got time to catch and pass him as well with 7.5 minutes left on the clock. He's 8.4 seconds back. But Robin Freins' last lap time was a 2 minutes 19.002. The quick guys in the top 3 are doing 2:12s and 2:13s. That's hugely off it. Now, maybe he had a moment somewhere, but either way, he's incredibly slow at the moment, and wouldn't be surprised to see him bail for the pits and get some new tyres on as well. Jamie Green, I think, was a bit surprised with how quickly he got onto the tail of Robin Freins there, got the power down, and laid some of his own Hankook rubber down on the tarmac. He chucked 600 brake horsepower into the rear wheels. So it's been a good race this for Jamie Green. From 11th on the grid, he's in 4th place now, and might still be able to do something about edging towards that podium. You never know. If you can keep the tyres going. No chance for Robin Freins though. Look how far behind already he is, Jamie Green. He only lost the position at the start of the lap. And Wittmann's going to be looming large in the mirrors soon, I reckon. Even though he's also struggling with the tyres a little bit. Might be some places to be gained further back from those who pitted late, like Philippe Eng, who's now in 9th place, Harrison Newey, who's now in 13th position. So the order, Müller leads, 2nd place Rockenfeller, 3rd place Duval, 4th place for Freins, 5th Green, 6th Wittmann, 7th Clock, 8th Auer, 9th Eng, and 10th René Rast. But René at least has just done a personal best in the first sector on his new tyres. Jonathan Aberdeen out of the points in 11th place, Fabio Scherer 12th, Harrison Newey 13th, Robert Kubica is 14th, Sheldon van der Linde 4 laps down in 15th, and there was a non-start for Ferdinand Habsburg after damaging the car in free practice. Timo Glock then now the best of the BMW drivers coming through ahead of Marco Wittmann. Yeah, Wittmann struggling again with tyres. Timo Glock easily getting past him. That change for 6th place. Timo's last lap time of 2 minutes 16, down into the 2:17s now for Marco Wittmann, so his charge has ended. And further back, we see the number 25 car of Philippe Eng moving ahead at La Source of Lucas Auer. So that will put Philippe Eng up to 8th place. And as I say, he was one of the drivers to pit very late relative to the others. Over the crest he comes. Philippe Eng 6th in the championship last year. Another driver like René Rast who came up through Porsche Carrera Cup racing. Although he's still got to watch his mirrors here because job not yet complete. Trying to pick up the toe, Lucas Auer on the way into Le Combe, but no, he's done the job. So Philippe Eng ahead of fellow Austrian Lucas Auer on his return to the DTM. Lucas having had a year away from the championship, and back now with a new car, a new team, a new brand as well. Having previously been a Mercedes driver. 22.1 seconds is the advantage for Muller. He must be on the radio going, where's everybody else gone? Because I just can't see anybody. It's just me left in the race, because there's absolutely nobody anywhere near him. You have to say the team, AB Sportsline, have got the setup absolutely spot on that car. Bearing in mind, Nico is teammate to René Rast, who has very much not got a good setup on his car. I wonder if René will be asking to see a little bit of Nico's data overnight to try and figure out why one car is so much quicker than the other and so much better at managing the tyres today than René has been able to muster. Might be 10th place is all he's going to get as well, because he's 9.5 seconds down on Philippe Eng, who's still going fairly rapidly. 3.5 minutes left on the clock. Leader's already through, 23 laps complete. There's Mike Rockenfeller crossing the line, 23.1 seconds behind him. Then Loic Duval, 1.5 seconds behind him. And now Mike Rockenfeller's times have suddenly dropped off. A pretty sluggish 2 minutes 17 on that lap. So you got Duval and Green both much quicker on that lap. 2 minutes 14 for Duval, quicker than both. Green, 2 minutes 13.1. Could be a podium finish here for Jamie Green. Very much so. Mike Rockenfeller, those tyres have just suddenly fallen off. The pace has just gone, just almost on that lap and a half, just dropping away by a couple of seconds. And it's understandable, because, as I say, the teams haven't been able to test here. There's only one free practice session at Spa, whereas you normally get 2 free practice sessions going into a race. And the one free practice session they did have this morning wasn't very helpful, because it was damp. They were going around most of the time on slick tyres on a damp circuit, so they didn't really get much information there either. And even qualifying, it was quite a lot cooler than it is come the race. So the data, and it's not like the teams can look back at years previous, because they haven't been here for 15 years. Certainly not in this type of car. Mike Rockenfeller is about to be swamped, though, because Loic Duval charges past for second, just drives past him. It's going to be resigned to the fact that Jamie Green is going to do exactly the same in a moment or two's time as well. And that will be Rocky, sadly for him, off the podium as Jamie Green comes through as well and makes the move on the way into Le Fan. And again, powerless to do anything about that was Mike Rockenfeller, just like René Rast was earlier in the race. They'll have learned a lot, these teams. Going to be an awful lot of supping over data and working out when to make the pit stop if the conditions are the same tomorrow. It's a big if, because we're at Spa, but if the conditions are the same, some of these teams are going to have to work out a much better route around the race. Just completely understeering there for Mike Rockenfeller. No grip left. Conversely, Loic Duval's car sticking to the road beautifully. But he's got to watch Jamie Green, because Jamie, yeah, he's on the podium now, but can he get another place? Can he get second position in this race from 11th on the grid? Be a great Jamie Green charge this if he can do so. Over the line they go. 1 minute and 11 seconds left on the clock, plus 1 lap once the time is done. So should be time for 2 more laps here, including that extra lap, for Jamie Green to find his way into second place. The Swiss driver, Nico Muller, is a mile clear. Loic Duval, the Frenchman, in second. And the British driver, Jamie Green, with the bit between his teeth now. Third place, excellent. Second place, if he's got half a chance, you can guarantee he'll have a go for. Jamie Green thundering through, the only driver in the DTM, in the current grid, to have raced a DTM car here before all those years ago. It wasn't a particularly good race for him. He finished in 19th place. But Jamie Green can drive a car pretty much anywhere. Doesn't matter how long it's been since he raced here. And here he is now, swarming all over the back of Loic Duval's Audi. Jamie Green pushing on in the Team Rosberg car. The inside line starting to open up on the way through Brussels, because beginning to understeer more and more, struggling to get the car turned in, is Loic Duval. DRS is left displayed on the windows there as well, pretty evenly matched in that respect. Jamie Green absolutely the quicker of the two. Rockenfeller is gone, look in the background, nowhere to be seen now. Through to the left-hander at Pouan. Every time Jamie Green is able to take a tighter line here. He's managed those tyres very well indeed. And here we go, the change for second place. Could it come here? Halfway alongside, not yet. Loic Duval just about closes the door in time. Time has run out, so when he crosses the line next, Nico Muller will be starting the final lap of the race. Lap and a bit to go for these two. Loic Devali's pushing so hard to try and keep Jamie Green behind him, to try and keep that car on the racing line. But each time it goes wide through the apex and on the exit to the corner. And here comes Jamie now. Left-hander coming up. He's already through, though. He's done it. He's second. Jamie Green from 11th to second in the first race of the season. The race leader has crossed the line just past the commentary box and into La Source for Muller. So we're on the last lap of the race now. And Jamie Green, what a terrific drive, terrific effort by him and the team. And the day which started quite badly with the puncture, the right rear puncture at the end of the free practice session. Qualifying didn't go according to plan, but they have found the sweet spot in the race, and he's driven beautifully to come through. He's taken every opportunity he's had in this race. Great effort by him. A flash of green and white as Nico Muller's Abt Sportsline Audi thunders on, absolutely oblivious to anybody else's problems. And here we're going to see René Rast now having a go at Philippe Eng. He's done well to catch him. I know he's got newer tyres, but through he goes. That's another place gained. Every championship point counts. And he'll gain another one there. He started, they've both been going up the order, but he's up to 6th place now with that move. Lucas Auer has been gaining some ground in the race as well. So Rast, 5th place now for Rast. Eng in 6th, Auer 7th. Glock struggling a bit in 8th place. Frines is down to 9th. He's just dropped off a cliff in terms of his lap times, and he didn't come in for new tyres for a second pit stop like René Rast, and that seemingly the wrong decision, because although he lost the time with the pit stop, René Rast has emerged with much more points to his name than has Robin Frines, who's in 9th, with Marco Wittmann also struggling big time now in the last few laps, down in 10th place and the final points holder at the moment. Tell you what, though, he might not get that point. He did a 2-minute 20 last time around, and Jonathan Aberdeen did a 2 minutes 14.9. 5 seconds between them, and just about 5 seconds a lap the difference between the pair of them. So Aberdeen might get himself a championship point here if he can keep up that speed. Last time through Blanchimont, though, coming up for the race leader, Nico Muller, looking for his 5th race victory in DTM. Following on from that terrific season in 2019, he's the driver that's going to pick up the early championship lead, because at the end of the first of 18 races this season, the checkered flag waves for the first time, and it goes to Nico Muller.
Awesome job, Nico. Awesome job. Really good pace today. Perfect start into the season. Remember to save fuel now and collect pickup.
Well done, Nico Muller. Well done, Jamie Green, across the line in second.
That was masterclass, Jamie. Really well done. Thanks a lot. Get as much pickup as possible, please.
Yeah, pick up.
Okay, LS off. Switch, cool down the car as much as possible. So we ended up P5. It's the best what we could do with the tire deck, and we investigate and came up with a plan.
So Timo finally finishing.
Look at this battle over the line.
3rd best BMW behind Philip and Luca.
Jonathan Aberdeen did it over the line. Look, just coming out of the last corner, Jonathan Aberdeen snuck through to get ahead of Marco Wittmann and to get the final championship point. We just saw it in the background. You've been hearing the team radios and all the instructions about picking up loose rubber and making sure the cars are over the minimum weight limit. Nico Muller, a huge roar as soon as he crossed the finish line over the team radio. Some drive that was. Beautiful car to drive, I imagine, as well, compared to some of them out there who've been really struggling. He wins by 19.5 seconds. An excellent second place from 11th on the grid for Jamie Green. Loic Deval in 3rd. Very strong drive from Loic as well to get the final spot on the podium, having started 7th on the grid. Mike Rockenfeller held on to 4th place. René Rast, actually 5th place. Not bad, really, considering the car was really struggling to maintain the tyres, and he had an extra pit stop. 5th place, not bad. While we're watching all the battles going on for the final 2 spots on the podium, he quietly was able to charge his way through the field and pick up 4 or 5 places in the last 5 minutes of the race to get 5th place. Philippe Eng in 6th place with a good drive as well. He was one of the last to pit. I think only Harrison knew he pitted behind him. And then Lucas Auer on his return to DTM in the points in 7th. Timo Glock in 8th. Robin Frines massively struggling with the car at the end of the race. Just about the slowest out there. 9th place. He would have been lucky absolutely for a podium. Remember, he led the race early on. It was all looking good 55 minutes ago for Robin Freins. Pole position to 9th. He's not what you want as a racing driver. So huge frustration there will be for him and the team. But it's all a big learning curve here at Spa this weekend. 10th place, as we saw, just over the line, Jonathan Aberdeen by 0.4 of a second in the end, but he did the move coming out of the final turn. That was Jamie Green's move, a replay of that to get second place. Just a couple of minutes left on the clock. Marco Wittmann then, despite his best efforts, missing out on a championship point in 11th. Fabio Scherer at 12th on his debut. Harrison Newey 13th on his debut, bringing the car home. Same for Robert Kubica, who got to the finish, 14th place for him. Sheldon van der Linde 15th, 3 laps down, and a non-start for Ferdinand Habsburg. So Nico Müller in the Castrol Edge Audi wins the first race of the season in the Team Abt Sportsline Audi sport car by almost 20 seconds. Jamie Green and Loic Duval are going to join him on the podium. It's a 1-2-3 for Audi, with Mike Rockenfeller in 4th, René Rast in 5th, and Philipp Eng, the leading light for BMW, to complete the top 6. Nico Müller absolutely chuffed to bits to start the season the way he has, and that will set him up very nicely for the season and for the rest of the weekend. Nico Müller, your race winner by an absolute country mile in his 103rd DTM race, his 5th win, his 19th visit to the podium, and following on from his last win at Hockenheim right at the end of last season as well. He missed out on the championship, but he did get a race win in that final race of last year, so that's now 2 on the trot for him. On for a hat-trick tomorrow if he can do it, albeit there's 10 months between one race win and the other. But excellent job by him. Loic Duval pulls in now and parks up. He's got back quicker than Jamie Green. Hugging the car is Nico Müller. Quite right. That was not only a beautiful job by him, but a beautiful job by the team, wasn't it, to get that set up absolutely dead right. And arriving just to the left of his shot, Jamie Green, who was the other star of that race, really. Nico Müller was absolutely mint. Can't believe it, but Jamie Green, possibly the driver of the race there, to come through from 11th to finish in 2nd place. I can't quite believe that. How did I win that easily? It's supposed to be tougher than this. Gives the car another kiss. He's chuffed. He's going to have the broadest grin on his face as well when he takes that helmet off, as the face mask will be coming on pretty quickly, but we might just get a glimpse of him. Wasn't a great race for others though, was it? Be pretty disappointing for Timo Glock. He looked like he could have pushed potentially for a podium, definitely a top 5 at one stage. Absolutely disappointing for Marco Wittmann, who didn't even get a point at the end of the race there. You can see it's pretty hard work for the drivers in this heat. Can I take my helmet off, says Nico. Yeah, you can. Get a bit of fresh air. Incredible conditions there in the cockpit. Not quite remembering what the procedure is in terms of high fives or fist bumps these days, is Jamie Green. Fist bumps to Loic Duval as well. Little chat about the move, maybe, for 2nd place. I think they'll both be very satisfied with that. So well done to Loic Duval on going about his business pretty quietly there. A good performance. That was not starring as much as the others, but he came through well, didn't he, to get the podium finish from what was the 4th row of the grid. That's his 3rd podium in the DTM. His best result coming back in 2017, where he got the 2nd place finish at Zandvoort. His last podium coming at Misano midway through last season, where he also finished in 3rd place. So the post-race debrief. There's no raised podium here at Spa. So hopefully we'll get to see and hear from the drivers in the not too distant future. Some replays of your race winner, Nico Müller. Beautiful shot of the car on track, and the love affair that he's begun with this car now at the start of the season. Perfect that was, absolutely perfect. Good stop by the team. Good call on the tyres in terms of when to come in for the pit stop. And Nico managed the tyres very well indeed. Just losing out a bit of pace in the last couple of laps of the race, but he got the job done by then. I'm sure he was managing the tyres as well. His last lap was a 2:17.2. Jamie Green was nearly 2.6 seconds quick. In fact, he was exactly 2.6 seconds quicker on the last lap because he was so far behind. It was untrue, but Nico Müller gets the national flag out now for a great photo opportunity. You can see, you can't see the smile because of the face mask, but you can see the twinkle in the eye and you know exactly how he is feeling. Brilliant roar as he crossed the line to take the first victory of the season. The trophy there awaits. The podium in these COVID times has been rearranged so that it's down in the pit lane. Of course, sadly, we've got no fans here to witness it, but I'm sure the teams will give a big cheer from a distance as well. Super slow-mo of the race winner, Nico Müller. Great shot that. You can see the heat coming generated from the cars as well. What's become a very hot afternoon here at Spa. The rain never really threatened after we had that damp start to the day in free practice. And onto the podium they come. Nico Müller, Jamie Green and Loic Duval. And now the winner's national anthem. A moment of reflection on the podium then as he listens to the Swiss national anthem. A proud, proud moment for Nico Müller. Takes the first win, takes the first 25 points and takes the early championship lead. He wraps the flag around him. And it's now time for the champagne. And that will feel good. Well, for now it'll feel good. It'll feel horrible and sticky when it get back to the garages, but for now a bit of cool after a hot race here at Spa. Well done to the winning team as well. Audi Sport Team, Abt Sportsline, who were runners-up in the team standings behind Team Rosberg last year, as Nico was runner-up to René Rast in the championship. Excellent job by the team, at least in terms of that car. Disappointment on the other side of the garage for René Rast to be in 5th place, but it could have been a lot worse. They made the right call in making the extra pit stop. And as he so often did last year, René Rast scraping some good points out of not ideal situations. Still very much in the fight. Lots of head scratching there will be overnight as they look at the data, try and figure out what they need to do with the setup of the cars, tyre pressures, when to come in for the pits. And that's if the weather remains as it is today. Terrific effort by Nico Müller then, who holds aloft the DTM trophy. Some 10 months after he last made it up onto the podium. Some 10 months since anybody last made it up onto a DTM podium. It's a different atmosphere. No crowd, no fans as yet, but they'll all be watching back home. And if they're Nico Müller fans, they will be absolutely delighted with the way the season has started for last year's championship runner-up. 19.5 seconds clear. I'll be surprised if anybody wins a race by a greater margin for the rest of the season. So the cars will go into overnight parc fermé conditions. There'll be another qualifying session tomorrow morning to set the grid for race 2. So it's a whole new day. Unlike in other championships where sometimes the race results give you the grids for the next races, there is then the results of the race and the championship points table. Jamie Green in second place after a terrific drive from 11th on the grid, and we can hear from him now.
Here he is, Jamie Green. What a fantastic race. Coming from 11 to P2, that was absolutely phenomenal. You put so much pressure on Loic, and in the end you got him, so it's a happy second place, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, the race, to be honest, my first lap was not fantastic. My start wasn't that good, but then, yeah, I just had a lot of pace, and I could overtake people surprisingly easily, so it was a real pleasant surprise. And obviously qualifying in 11th, I wasn't too happy with that, but it's always good to put on a good show in the race, and yeah, there was a driver I can be proud of.
Absolutely, you really did put on a very good show, and speaking of, even in the qualifying, you were not that lucky with your puncture and everything, so in the end how it came together is just perfect for you.
Yeah, I mean, I want to qualify better because you get points for top 3 in qualifying, so you know, that would be handy if I can score some of those. So yeah, we'll just work on the qualifying and hopefully maintain the good race speed.
You get another chance tomorrow, so let's see that. All right, thank you so much, Jamie, and back to you.
Some drive that was. Well done, Jamie. 42nd visit to the DTM podium for Jamie Green. And as you say, he's a drive that he can be very proud of. They've got to work on the qualifying performance, as he rightly says. Extra points these days available for qualifying in the top 3. You get 3 points for pole, you get 2 for second, and you get 1 for qualifying in third place. And they can make a really big difference at the end of the season if, like René Rast last year, you're regularly scoring those additional championship points. It can be worth even as much as another race win, potentially. Loic Duval came home on the podium as well. Third place for the Frenchman, a good drive through the field. And we can now hear from him down with Verena.
Yep, and now I've got Loic Duval, who started in P7, and in the end he made it to P3. Loic, you were in P2, but I guess there was so much pressure that in the end you're only P3, but are you still pretty content with the third place?
Yeah, I was even P8 after the starts. Unfortunately, I mean, the clutch didn't really open, so I stayed there and on the grid, so it was not an easy first few laps, but then I was able to pass the BMWs. Definitely we had a better pace, I mean better consistency through the race, and then I just tried to wait and see what was happening in the front, you know, and then I found out at the end of my first stint that already I was catching the guys in front of me. And then the second stint I tried to be careful because we knew that the tire deck is quite big here, and we didn't know exactly what to expect, especially after the practice this morning. And I was, yeah, pretty happy with P2. Unfortunately, I did hit the cliff over there and I went down, you know, for the last 2 or 3 laps, which it's fine, you know. I mean, it's a good start of the season, you know. It's a podium, it's some points. Now we'll see what we do tomorrow.
All right, Loic, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I can see Nico right behind me. I'm going to try to grab him. Let's see. Nico? Yep, and he heard me, so that's fantastic. The winner of the first race of the DTM season 2020, congratulations. We saw you wearing your flag with pride, and it's a national day today in Switzerland, so even better that you won. How does it feel?
Great, yeah, I couldn't be much better today. I mean, super happy. Want to thank the team for their awesome job. The car felt brilliant out of the box. We didn't have time to work on the setup at all, so yeah, what they pulled out of the truck is what's standing here, and it worked brilliantly, so thanks a lot for that. The only thing that could have made today even better would have been our lovely fans being here with us on the track, but we're grateful to be able to race. I hope the joy and the pride arrived on the screens at home, and I'm looking forward to share it with you guys as soon as possible on site.
Yeah, we all are excited when that changes, but for now we're happy to be here. And one more thing I need to stress is 19.2 seconds. You were ahead of everybody, so you really were in a league of your own. I mean, that car just feels magic, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, I think the guys have really worked hard over the very long break, so they made use of every extra day they got. We worked hard together, we prepared in every little detail we could think of, and it paid off today. That doesn't mean it will pay off again tomorrow, so the work is starting again now. The focus is on tomorrow. We have a long season and a tough season ahead, so yeah, we have to make sure that we can get the maximum out of our package every day, and that's what we're working on.
All right, Nico, thank you so much. And now, for the moment, back to the commentator.
Thanks very much, Verena. Well done to Nico Müller. Don't worry, Nico.